Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Greta Chamberlain, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Carol, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Greta, Kathleen, and of course, the Realm of Beings. We would like to thank all of you who came to visit us last weekend at the New Life Expo in New York City. We enjoyed meeting all of you, and we will keep you abreast of additional upcoming events. I know we will be in California in February, and we will provide details as soon as we have them. Of course, you can always experience Shifting Impressions and the latest news, including upcoming expos, on our website, www.therealmofbeings.com, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Transformation Network, and any other of your favorite streaming platforms. We at Shifting Impressions are very happy to be here on Transformation Network every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time and 8 a.m. Pacific. Listeners, if you're new to this podcast, thank you for joining us and being part of this experience. These conversations will help you to look at your life and your creation of reality to see what you're creating, how it shows up, and how to help you gain perspective so you can learn how to shift what you are creating in order to create what you want. So welcome, everyone. To new listeners and viewers to the podcast, each week, Greta shares with us a quote given to her from the Realm of Beings, which we discuss, and then later on in the show, the Realm will join us and they will expand on the quote and give more insight. This week, the quote is about who controls me. Many of you believe that an outer force controls you and that you are destined to experience certain things in your life. You believe that things can be done to you by others, and that you have no control over yourselves. So now is the time to rise up and explore your spiritual power. And of course, something like this makes me think of the word fate and destiny, because we know that that's not true. If everybody is creating their own reality, there's no predestiny or fate that is definitely going to happen to anyone. I don't think I ever really believed in fate or destiny. I always felt like I was the reason anything happened to me. So maybe I had an inkling of what it was about in the first place. I'm not sure about that. Kathy, what do you want to say about it?
Actually, I never ever really thought about it. To me, that seemed like when they talk about fate, by the gods, by the gods. It was those old 1950 gladiator movies and the movies with the Greeks and Jason and the Argonauts. They were the only ones, in my opinion, from my understanding, that even had that kind of a belief system. It wasn't until I was a lot older, I want to say maybe when I started college or something, I heard about karma and I heard people talk about it, but I never really wrapped my head around it because as far as I was concerned, I might be a bit more like you. It's like if you don't know about it, you don't attract it to yourself. You don't think about it. You know what I mean? So for me, that's kind of like the way it is.
Yeah, I know that there are certain cultural groups that believe in fate and destiny. So it's a thing that we're not knocking anybody's belief system here. What we're trying to do is to assist each person in expanding their understanding of existence. I know that you can even look at some movies, Asian movies, and they talk about destiny, or they talk about when I return, we can try something else, you know. But we're not going to really get into the returning because that's a whole nother issue. But that first part of the quote says, many of you believe that an outer force controls you. And that is that there's a belief that the universe controls me. Or like Flip Wilson said, the devil made me do it. You know. So we have other reasons, or we can blame. So we have to get into blame with that. When you believe that an outer force controls you, that means if something's happening to you that you do not like, then what are you going to turn around and do? You're going
Look
to
outside.
Yeah, blame someone else.
Outside, and you're going to blame that individual or that thing that did that. That you
See, now,
did that.
the main thought that I gleaned when you first spoke with me, Greta, and what I learned, so a lot of the thoughts with everybody with the whole New Age thing back in the 60s and 70s, I believed in karma and reincarnation because that was the thing that everybody was talking about. I've since learned that those things are not real. But I always envisioned the universe as something outside of me. And that's why I was so happy to learn about creation of reality and understand that I am the universe and everything is within me. Just like everything is within Kathleen and within Greta and within the realm, we are in control. So who controls me? I do. And that is almost like a freedom in and of itself to have that belief and recognize that you can control what happens to you. Whether you realize it or not, you're doing it all the time.
Now, see, for me, back during that time, I guess it's, what I was focusing on as a teenager, because for me, if we would fight the powers that be, we were in the, to me, that was stuff hippies looked at. Hippies, and they were like,
yeah, I was a
strange
hippie.
people. Well, there you go. Who are these strange people? As far as from my cultural framework, we were looking at, fight the powers that be. We were looking at inclusion. We were looking at the systemic racist things that were in place that we were, it was like the end of the so-called civil rights movement. So I guess my focus was more on that level than worrying about karma, because karma never bothered me. The universe never bothered me. It was these other folks that lived in this country that I was concerning myself with. Even though the family spoke of, they would always say, well, leave it in God's hands. It's in God's hands. And I guess that's the same concept.
Absolutely.
But you're giving your power away.
Absolutely.
And reclaiming your power is something that we all need to practice doing, and we don't really do it that much. But I think the closest philosophical beliefs I may have had, if I think about it, I might have been more into the existentialist kind of belief system, where you create your own meaning in your own life, and regardless of fate. In other words, you don't have to accept it, because, and I don't know to what extent I believed it. I just never thought that anything that I could not see controlled me. I thought that something I could see right in front of me, like a policeman, could control me.
Let me ask you this. Did you pray back in those days?
Did I pray? I pretended to pray, Greta. I'd be honest with you. If you were on trial for being a Christian, would there be enough evidence to convict you? I would say, I don't know. My grandmother's prayed, and people will say pray, but for me, no. It never meant anything to me. Never did anything for me.
Okay, so the thing is, though, that you still did it because you wanted to satisfy your family's needs to to do it because you just said that, yeah, I guess I did, but I didn't necessarily. The reason why I brought up prayer is because prayer is you're praying to someone to help you. You're praying to someone to guide you. And there's nothing wrong with prayer.
Nothing at all.
There's nothing wrong with prayer at all. But the one thing is that we're going to turn that prayer concept around and look at it in terms of when we're praying to ourselves because that which we call God does not interfere with us. It does not interfere because it has to honor. See,
Free
this
will.
is the thing. It's an honoring of our abilities to create our own reality. It's an honoring. It's a loving, what we always tell everybody, love unconditionally. So there's this force, this energy force that loves us unconditionally and accepts us regardless of the realities that we create or not. But it's an acceptance that it gives. It's not a control.
Right. See, that word came to me, acceptance, as soon as you started speaking about that, Greta. And I know that we have to constantly remind ourselves that we have to also accept everyone, regardless of their belief system. My theory or hypothesis is I believe religions were created because early humans didn't know about creation of reality, nor did they know about science or nature. So when things happened that they couldn't understand, like floods or droughts, they needed an outside force to blame. Thus, they created gods. There was the god of crops, the gods of rain, the god of whatever god they needed to blame for something, they created it. And I think that stemmed from the fact that at the point in time of that, no one knew about creation and reality. I mean, I only learned about it like 8 years ago myself. So, I'm many millennia older than those early humans were. But
Well,
I
see,
think that's where it originated.
yeah, but I think for me, I think it goes deeper, and I think it also depends on what people you're talking about. If you're talking about Western people and Western cultures, they're going to have a whole different epistemological or cosmological origin story or viewpoint of how they came to be and how things came to be. But I mean, everyone, I think all cultures, I don't know, I shouldn't say that, they have these how they came to exist, how they came into their beingness to know that they exist. But when you go from Plato to the Lenape, we were born on the back of a turtle. I mean, it's, to me, I think it goes, we have a tendency to look at the tip of the iceberg and not really go below, Carol. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right. But
it's like
I
we
can't
accept
think of
certain things.
anyone that hasn't looked as an outside source for their existence. All the religions that I delved into, all the cultures that I've studied, they all have, even if they felt they came from ancient aliens, as they call it, they all are looking to a force outside of themselves as their reason for being here. And I think today's quote is that there's no one that controls us except ourselves. It's just reinforcing that we are in control of ourselves.
But see, my problem is the word all. We don't know that. We're assuming that all people looked outside of themselves. I think that's part of the challenge that I have, because
Right.
I cannot say that for certainty that everyone did. And I mean,
Oh, of course not.
we can look at all of the other religions, all of the other things. Even if we say, okay, well, that's their belief system, we don't even know where that came from.
Right.
And how do we validate their thoughts? Their origin stories. I mean, for real, for real. We who's, it's like aesthetics. Whose image, whose concept of beauty are we applying to it? And we might be looking at it in a simplistic way, and it might be a lot deeper, like how they came to create that. I don't know. So I'm not saying what you're not saying is true. I'm just looking at it, I guess, I don't know. I can't say that all.
Do they
Yeah.
have to be validated, though? I mean, you and I and Greta are aware of the fact that we create our own realities. Do we need to validate other belief systems or just accept them and love them unconditionally? Because obviously we can't know every single human that ever existed what their thought and belief system were. But my guess, and that's all it is my opinion, is that they attributed their lives to outside forces. I still hear people say, oh, it was my destiny to meet you, or it was fate that brought us together. I still hear people say that all the time. So I know that that's a very prevalent belief system
Oh,
even
absolutely.
today.
I'm not doubting that, but we use the word there are no coincidences. That's
True.
kind of like how we kind of floated through that, you know. But it's like,
There can't be. There can't be any coincidences.
okay, there you go.
There can't be. I don't care. It doesn't matter what you believe or what you don't believe, because what's happening in this existence is what's happening in this existence, and there's certain think tenets and belief systems that we've accrued. Like, for instance, Kathy, I thought that was interesting what you brought up earlier, and because as soon as you started going there, I started going with the Anunnakians, and those are supposed to be, that is a group of beings that are extraterrestrials, so we don't even know how much the extraterrestrials influenced our way of being. But we do know that we create our own reality. And if there's anyone out there that doesn't want to, take that on as a belief system, that is okay. But there are going to be things that you're going to sit down and you're going to say, and I'm sure quite a few people have had this experience. You focus on something you wanted, and then you turn around and it was there. Well, it just didn't happen like that. You had to create it. And we're not, on this podcast, we're not going into things of how the science behind all of that, that we'll let that be with the Joe Dispenzas and people who go into the neurological meanings behind that. That's not our role here. Our role is to make it as simplistic as possible to understand it. When you understand that you create your own reality, then you know that no one can do anything to you. Because people have a tendency, and I don't care what culture you're in, what language you speak, you're going to find that, well, that person hurt me. Because we can look at how many people throughout the world have gotten cancer. And cancer is the mental equivalency of cancer is that you're holding on to little hurts. So you really think that people have hurt you or that person hurt you because you take it on emotionally, you see. But once you understand that you create your own reality, you can't blame anybody for anything. You can't say that you did that to me, you hurt me. It takes care of all that stuff.
Exactly. And that's pretty much what my journey has been, with the example that I gave, Sunday about my car, And once I realized that I created, and my car was the vehicle, the audience may not know that. I wanted to know if anger causes accidents. And I kept thinking about that until I created a situation that demonstrated, and it took me from doubting or wondering to knowingness. Yes, anger causes accidents. All accidents. And now I have to watch what I think, watch what I say, and it's like, oh my God. So it kind of, it's funny because kind of piggyback on why you can see why maybe some cultures or some philosophers came up with fate and determinism, because maybe they don't understand what's coming to me now is maybe they're confusing that they're creating everything. That's it. It's the creation of reality, but they're calling it fate and determinism or free will, like compatibility free. To me, maybe that's what's going on.
Well, there's a lot of terminologies that can come out, with that. But I think the main essence for our conversation today is that we are always in control. Because in the quote, it said, we think that we're not in control. It's like some people come up to me and say, I got fired, Greta. And the one thing I say to them is that, no, you didn't get fired. You fired yourself. Nobody can fire you. Nobody. I don't care who it is. Nobody. You have to create everything that goes with you being fired or being let go.
That.
I gave speaking of Sunday when we were in New York, that one class that I taught, I mentioned that there are women that have had abortions or miscarriages for whatever the reason is. They take it extremely hard in that they think that they killed their children. And that's where creation of reality is so wonderful, because they don't kill their children. People can't realize that children they see these little babies, so they feel that they don't have any energy. They don't have any power, when the baby has the same amount of power as an adult. So the baby determines, and I said this in the class, I said, the baby determines how long it's going to stay here and how it's going to go, just like everybody else. The only thing that the mothers gave was support. I said, you only supported. You did not hurt your child. You did not kill your child. You just supported your child's decision. Because you don't start creating your reality when you're 95, or you start creating it when you're 10. You start creating your reality before you're even born. Mm-hmm. And that was one thing I talked about on Sunday. So I wanted to say that this young woman came up to me after the class was over. She had tears in her eyes. She said, thank you so much. She said, because I've been holding on to this. Because she had had an abortion. So she was taking it like she had destroyed her child and was like that for years. I've known of women. I had a woman that had uterine cancer. And I said, what was going on? And she said, well, I had an abortion when she was very young. So she had carried that hurt, that H-U-R-T. She had carried that hurt to the extent that it created uterine cancer for herself when she didn't really have to go there. Because I had to explain to her, and she had to really work with herself to understand, because society itself says you killed that baby. And I don't mean to go on, for some reason I'm going into abortions, which is very, some people don't believe that or not, But the point is,
I was going to say, it's a hard concept for a lot of people.
But see,
no, just the whole thing that the child took its own life, or the mother, in other words, that the child aborted itself. That's the hardest thing I found from Greta. All of Greta's talks, that people they can't wrap their head around that.
But you know what? People do wrap their heads around it, Kathy. I have to go to terms with you on that one, because otherwise that woman would not have come up to me and told me thank you.
Well, maybe not as many as.
Because it's, they're people, because they don't understand creation of reality.
Right.
You cannot do anything to anybody. I don't care what it is. If I walk up to somebody and shoot them dead, that is because they created, that was their time to go, and that was the vehicle that they wanted to use, and I gave them the support. Now you go into the legal system with that, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. But the thing is, nonetheless, that's what's happening.
Right.
I can't just walk up and kill you. I can't do that. That's impossible. because I can't do anything to you. I can support you, but I cannot do anything to you. You have to be in that position to create, to bring that probability into actuality.
That's why we say create, support, create.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's been my experience, even still now when I'm speaking to people about creation of reality, that when good things are happening or high vibrational things, or what people say good, they always say good things are happening to them. They're more than happy to accept the responsibility for that. You know, I got myself a raise at work, or, you know, whatever good they felt happened to them. But if something challenging happens, or what they would term as bad, right away, they're looking outside, blaming somebody else. I got in an accident because he went through that stop sign. I didn't cause it. He did. So it's sometimes maybe a bitter pill to swallow for some of us, but you have to accept all of the creating and know that you're doing both. So if it's something you don't like or are not happy with, that's what we're here about. That's what we're talking about, shifting to create what you want, and understanding you're still creating what you don't want, whether you realize it or not.
But you don't have to keep it. You don't have to keep creating
exactly. You don't have to keep it.
And see, the other thing, though, is that many people, what I've found by talking to people, is that they ask me the question, Greta, how do I know when I created it versus somebody else?
If it happens to you, you created it.
Right. It has to be it's your own personal creation of reality. If you experience that personally, then you created it. Yeah.
True.
I know we got 2 minutes, but can we go to break now?
Yeah, we don't have 2 minutes.
Okay.
We've got about a minute. Audience, please stay with us. We're coming back in a few moments to hear what the realm wants to share with us about this quote. So we ask you to stick with us, and we'll see you in a minute. Bye. Welcome back, listeners. Thank you for joining us again, Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. We're at that portion of the podcast where the realm will come in and weigh their thoughts about the quote that they provided. Realm, are you with us?
Yes, we're here.
Thank you for joining us. The quote that we've been discussing is about who controls me. And your quote was, many of you believe that an outer force controls you and that you are destined to experience certain things in your life. You believe that things can be done to you by others and that you have no control over yourselves. So now is the time to rise up and explore your spiritual power. All right, Realm, you're on.
Thank you, Carol. Hi, Kathleen.
Hello, Realm.
Giggling, Kathleen. Kathleen's got the giggles.
I'm laughing at Carol. You're on, Realm. Like they're never on.
Well, that's true.
Oh, wait. They're on. They're on. They're all on, Greta.
Mm. The one thing we want to say is the word power.
Mm.
Some people feel they have no power. Some people feel that they're subjected to their fate and destiny. They're subjected to the environment that they live in. They're subjected to the family that they chose to be born into, and so forth. So they think, some people even think, something has been done to me in this life so that I am not successful. I'm not accomplishing what I really want to accomplish in this world or in this reality. But see, the thing is, it's all up to you. To each and every one of our listeners here, it's all up to you individually. You don't have to feel sad. You don't have to be mad. All you have to do is be glad.
I like the rhyming.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like we should play a beat and you could rap for us.
I'll ask the person that likes the rapping, not the person, but one of us can rap real nice. We'll have them rap for you next week.
Oh, I would love that. Thank you, Realm.
This is the thing that you're always in control. You're never. There's no time in your life that you are not in control. You're in control of everything that happens to you and everything that does not happen to you.
Mm.
You are in total control at every moment. At every moment. So the thing is then, let's stop looking at the fact that I'm not successful because of the family that I grew up in. Because see, even if things you experienced certain things in your family when you were growing up. But now you're an adult. You don't have to carry that with you. You can release it. And I know on this podcast, we've talked about different ways of releasing QDR, quick displace replays, affirmations. And we've also just said, just personally say to yourselves, I don't want this anymore. I'm changing myself. I know I can do better. And the thing is, stop listening to people criticizing you. You see, because that person who's criticizing you, calling you names or calling you different names than what you were given, or treating you in a quote unquote nasty way in your perception, don't be upset by that. There are two things you have to look at with that situation of reality. If the other person is calling you and criticizing you and calling you outside your name, the first thing that's important to know is that that person which is doing that is exactly what they're telling you you are.
Mm.
That person can't tell you you're stupid. That person can't tell you you're not going to amount to anything. The person can't. I mean, he can. But then the person is really talking about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't talk about somebody else unless you're in that place yourself. So you have to be the stupid one first before you can call somebody else stupid. So for those of you who have gone through that, have been subjected to some treatments like that, just let it go. It's not worth it. Because it can keep you, when you take in the hurt, it can keep you from accomplishing the things that you really want to accomplish because you're so busy holding on to the hurt or being sorrowful about yourself, which then leads you into depression, which is a dis-ease. You see, taking on this verbiage that someone else has given you. Now, if we look at your side, the thing is, if somebody called you stupid, then they were also supporting you in feelings about yourself.
Mm.
So it's important for you to see yourselves as wonderful beings because that's what you truly are. Wonderful beings. Of course, somebody's going to say, well, there are evil people in this world. They cannot be wonderful. When you look at somebody and you say, that is not a wonderful person, that person is this and that and all that kind of stuff, you're looking at the personality of the person. You're not looking at that aspect of the person that is the force. You see, everyone here, everything here is the force itself. Everything. But what makes this whole reality exciting, if you want to use that word, is a person's personality. Now we know that there is a person who liked to go around, kill people, and eat them. You would probably say, oh my God, let's get rid of him. He's a terrible person in society. And I think I think he did die in prison, if I'm not mistaken. But the thing is that after you get past his personality, which was the enjoyment of killing people and eating them, which is really a gross topic for some of you, but I'm just using that to get across my point. That was his personality. That was not his truism. Hitler is another person that everybody, when you say Hitler, your hairs go off on your backs. They stand up straight because you know what he represented. But that was his personality. So it's your personalities that believe that you can be hurt by others. It's your personalities that think that you can be controlled by others. Your true essence of your being knows that that is not accurate. So I want to say that again. Your personalities afford you to believe that someone can hurt you. Afford you to believe that you're not cared for or loved. That's your personality. And that's the other person's personality. Somebody, you had an automobile accident. Both of you get out. Nobody knows who. One person says, well, you're the one that caused the accident. The other person says, well, you caused it. Very interestingly enough, you supported each other because accidents are anger. And it takes two to tango, you see, as you say, in your world. It takes two to tango. And the two, this is the irony, or not even irony, but this is the interesting part about it. It doesn't have to be another human who's giving you the support. It could be a thing that's giving you the support. It could be a disease that's giving you the support. It could be a cat that's giving you support. You see.
Or a car.
Or a car, as you said earlier. Yes. That would have been interesting for you to go into more depth about that, Kathleen. But we'll have time for that. So it's not always a person, you see. And sometimes you can sabotage yourselves. You don't have to use someone else to sabotage you. If you think that you can look in the mirror and say, I'm too fat, or I'm too skinny, or I need eyelashes, or I'm turning gray, let me dye my hair black. I don't look well with gray hair. You know, that's a sabotage. So sometimes we sabotage ourselves. We can hear people doing that, you see. So to sabotage oneself means that also you're going into blame of self. And really where you want to be is to be in unconditional love of self.
Realm, is that the part where you're saying rise up and explore your spiritual power? Is that what you're referring to? Rising
up is really understanding who you truly are. And understanding this, as we stated in the early beginning, we said, you are a wonderful person. You really are, because you're the force. Many people in the audience have not come to that fully acceptance of that. That is really a very difficult thing to accept, that I am the force. I am that which created all of existence. Yes, you are. Right.
A divine being, Realm. They don't see themselves as being divine beings. To them, that's like what a god or an angel is, not themselves.
Absolutely. That's why it's difficult. Because see, in this human experience that you're having, one of the challenges is to understand that there is no separation. And in humanoid experiences, through science, economics, cultural frameworks, language, you are setting up separation. Even when you talk about dimensions, we like how you said it, Kathleen, when you said dimensions is dealing with the cosmic caste system. That's wonderful. Because there's some people that think they're better than others because they think of themselves as being at the fifth dimension. So the fifth dimension, people think they're higher. You see, that only supports separation. Can you imagine that you're saying, I'm on the 7th dimension, or I'm on the 12th dimension? Look where I am. Look how great I am. Look, I'm higher than those people that are on the 3rd dimension. That is the biggest illusion going. Because you can't be higher than somebody else. In your mind, you may think you're higher, but you're really not. You may think that because you have this psychic ability, you're at a higher spirituality than this person who has chosen not to use that particular psychic ability. But when you get to the understanding that you create your own reality and that you are totally in control, then it is very easy to move over and understand that you are the force. And then it's very easy to get out of that framework. I'm better than this person. I'm better than the person that lives in the Amazon rainforest, or in the Congo rainforest, or in an Alaskan igloo. Everybody is even. No one is better than the other. If you think that you are better than someone else, then the only thing that you are doing is supporting separation.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot be. If you're thinking you're high, then you're supporting separation, which means then that what you think that you're high in, you're really low in. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do, Realm. And you know what, Mel? That's the other thing that I always, when I taught in the classroom, there's no such thing as first world and third world. Because that's another whole concept of a caste system and separation, and you're not as good as me. And there are a lot of people across this planet that actually truly really believe that. And it just to piggyback on what you're saying, and that's how they treat everyone. But if that place is so poor, why are you there? Why don't you go back to your first whatever you think, wherever you think you belong, or wherever you think you came from, if that's how you feel about it? You know, it's just the irony of it to me is disconcerting at times.
Yes, but you know what? A suggestion, Kathleen, is not to even consider it
Concerning.
Thank you. Not to even consider that. Just look at it and say, this is where these individuals are.
Because they chose to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they are right where they're supposed to be at the moment that they are there, because that is where they put themselves.
But how does everyone else? We've had this conversation before, because I know someone out there in the audience is thinking, because I'm thinking and I'm projecting, how do we, as a species, evolve in such a way that we're not bothered by all of this separation, that we move towards the oneness that we want? I know it's on the individual thing, but you could understand why people listening might just go, oh my gosh, you know, what's I'm trying to understand what's being taught to me. And I'm not saying that they're not, but it's sometimes it seems like it might be, I don't know. I'm trying to figure the correct way of saying that. Carol, this is where you come in.
I'm getting from you, Kathy, that you're asking how can we change like the whole consciousness, the group consciousness.
Thank you. I knew you knew the answer. I knew you knew that.
But you answered it yourself, because you said individual, and that's all we can do. The only person we can affect is ourselves. So
I'm tired of it.
Carol, I'm glad you said that. The only one that you can affect is yourself. But now get this, Carol. When you lose the concept of separation out of your mind, and you understand that everyone and everything is the force, then that which you said cannot be, because you will only be in oneness.
Right, right.
So you won't be able to see the parts. You
Well, we
only
have to start with ourselves. I mean, people have to start. If every person started to understand unconditional love and oneness, that is how the group consciousness would change. Is that a correct way to phrase it?
It can. It can. But one thing, Carol, you have so many different types of group consciousnesses.
Yeah. Like,
True.
So many. But the
Yeah.
one point that we like that you said is that each person has to deal with themselves.
Mhm.
You want peace in this world?
Make peace with yourself.
Absolutely. The peace is internal. That's where the peace is. If every individual and every animal and everything felt peace in this world individually, then we'll all feel it, because we are one with all of us. We're really one here. It's not a Carol, it's not a Kathleen, it's not a Greta, it's not a realm of beings. It's a oneness. That is the truism. There's only oneness. Everything else that you see is an illusion. However, we've opted to come here, and that includes the realm of beings, because we are here with you. So we've opted to come here in our own way, this illusion. Each one of us, in our own way, has chosen to come here and experience this reality, which is an illusion. You see.
And that's
what's it like for you?
that's sort of the buy-in that we get when we chose to come as humans, or to come into this reality of Earth. There are certain beliefs that we are buying into. We believe that we're individuals. We believe the sky is blue. We believe the grass is green. That's just we believe that time is linear. I mean, Kathleen, I and Greta, of course, we know differently now, but the majority of our species probably does not understand that, because I don't think everyone understands creation of reality. So
Yes.
the illusions are like buy-ins for us when we come here.
But I think every group has experiencing different illusions because everyone's creating their own reality. So if I'm in the rainforest in the Amazon, Carol, I'm not really thinking of linear time because the time does not exist for me. I'm
Right.
thinking, you know what I mean? It's like,
Right. But you see the sky is blue, right?
if someone tells you that's what the color is, who called it blue? They might say,
Exactly.
oh, the sky is pink, but it's the same blue. Because if it's
Exactly.
an illusion, isn't it? It's all about perceptions. And
Exactly.
maybe their color for blue doesn't even exist. I mean, I don't know. You
That's
know,
true.
I honestly don't know. So it's like sometimes it just feels like it's I don't know, kind of futile, and sometimes it just and I don't want it to feel that way, but
That's all right for you to feel futile. It's futile. That means that there's no way to change it. If you want to feel that way, then that means you will stay there. If it's futile, then I don't need to even be bothered with it. But the thing is that everything is you, and you are everything. So therefore, now what are you going to do?
well, I know I can change what I don't want to experience. And speaking of
Absolutely.
changing, I don't know what we're going to talk about next week, Realm. All I know is our next show is on All Souls Day. Isn't All Souls Day, Carol, next Thursday?
It is, but it's also known as Halloween, which is a lot more fun.
But that's the day before. So we're going to be in our orange and black.
I don't even think I have orange clothes, Kathleen.
Okay, well, you'll put your mouse ears on or whatever you're going to do.
And how do you expect the realm to present ourselves on this day?
As a ball of, and no, as a thought.
Well, you know what, realm?
As thought?
The expression is trick or treat, and when you're with us, it's always a treat. So
That's a good one, Carol. So come as a treat, realm. You'll be the big treat. And
I
maybe
think
maybe your quote will be on what happens to your soul, or what it means to believe in a soul.
or if we have souls, right?
If we have a soul. I don't know. I'm not telling the realm what to give Greta, but
Hint, hint, wink, wink. All right. On that note, we're going to ask Greta to come back. Realm, thank you so much. Your insight this week was fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
We appreciate you as well, Carol, and we appreciate Kathleen. And we know that wonderful person who keeps all of this running. Her name is Moxie, and we appreciate her as well. And with that, we bid adieu.
Adieu.
Adieu. Adieu.
All right, listeners, we have reached that point, the end of this week's podcast, with the quote we were given that we control ourselves. So we want to thank Transformation Network. I want to thank Kathleen, Greta, and the Realm for joining me. And most importantly, listeners, we thank you until we create each other again.
Well, wait a minute, Carol. We forgot to tell people to like and share, but we also have a QDR code. QR code, not a QDR code. About our is it not the brochure, Greta? It's
it's for have them go on our website. We want them to go on our website and sign up and
on our mailing list, the QR code.
Yeah. So Moxie, we're gonna make sure we put that up there. Boom, they can use their phone and go pow, go right there, because we have the newsletter.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, folks, until we create each other again, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Can you see me?
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with the Realm and me, Greta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multi-dimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.